Hello. So this is part 2 to my other story time, the one about my boyfriend leaving me in another state. It's a really, really long story, and it's like kind of like sad and intense, so that's why I broke it up into 2 parts. I kind of got a little overwhelmed in the last video and I needed to take a break. I also thought I would do a little glow up so that I felt a little better about myself because this story does not make me feel great about myself. So, I did my makeup. Hello. I don't have any mascara though, so this is a no mascara look. It's just eyeliner. And then I have this. My grandma got me a bunch of these for Christmas. It's called Buttercream Butter Lipstick by Liptastic. I don't know. I don't really use a lot of makeup, but this is what I have. So normally I use this little lip stain thing. It's like, makes me feel like I'm in the 20s or something. It's the easiest thing to use because it's just lip stain. You put it on and it stains your lips, and it's not like lipstick that's gonna come off. I hate lipstick. It sucks. So whatever, I'm wearing it for you guys for this video, okay? Okay. Anyway, so I ended the video off, the last video, I ended it off. If you didn't watch it, I very much recommend going and watching that video before you start to watch this one, because this is part 2, and I give a lot of context in part 1. So anyway, this is my dog Honey, by the way. If you don't know her, definitely go back and watch my other storytime videos. She's always in the background, doing her thing. Yeah. Doing her freaking thing. Yeah. So anyway, also stay tuned to the very end of my videos because I'll put bloopers at the end of my videos. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes she's funnier than normal. So I'll put those at the very end of my videos as bloopers, and it's really funny. So anyway, did you just burp in my face? You just burped in my face. How gross. I don't care. I still love you. Uh-oh, I got lipstick on you. Oh, God. See, that's also why I hate lipstick. Anyway, I have to remember not to kiss my dog now. So, I'm gonna get right back into the story. So, I was driving away from him, and I left him at a gas station, and he was literally, like, screaming, throwing his fist in the air and everything, screaming at nothing because I couldn't hear him anymore. I was driving away. And I just remember crying the hardest I have ever cried, and trying to drive at the same time in a state I'd never been in, so everything was new and scary. It was tough. Where did I go right after this? See, this is where my memory gets a little hazy because it was so traumatic for me. So I'm pretty sure what I had done was I called my uncle because he lived in that state. He lived in the same town that I was in. And however, my uncle is somebody who I'm not close with. So it was very strange just kind of meeting him for the like maybe 4th or 5th time in my life. And it was because I'd moved to another town with this new guy, with this new boyfriend. Again, I'm going to remind you guys, I'd only been with this man for 7 months, and we moved away together to another state. And I moved in with his family. I don't really think I explained that much in part 1 about this, but we moved in with his entire family in a double wide trailer. It was his parents, so it was his mom and dad, his 16-year-old brother, and both of his grandparents. So that's 5 people, and then add me and him. That's 7 people in a double wide trailer. And his grandparents already had dogs. Luckily, they were little dogs. There wasn't a lot of space. You didn't get any time to yourself. That was also another added stress to me and my boyfriend because we were used to having our own space, having our own like alone time when we needed it. So we never got that at this new house. So I called my uncle, who I hadn't seen at all except for one time since we'd been there. I hadn't seen him since we'd been there except for one time. We went out to dinner with him, me, and my boyfriend. So he kind of didn't really expect me to call him, but I called him, and I was like, oh, I need help. My boyfriend left me, and I don't know where to go. At this point, if you watch part 1, you know that we were on our way to a job, me and my boyfriend, when we had this fight, and then I ended up leaving him at a gas station. So, but at this point, I completely didn't think about going to work anymore. I was so heartbroken and devastated that we were like, I guess, broken up at this point. Like it felt like he had left me. I, in my mind, had thought he was done with me. It was over. I was done with him. This was the last straw for both of us. Can't handle any more. I am now left in this new state and I have nowhere to go. That is where my mind went. I think I have a lot of therapy still to do about it to figure out why exactly my mind went there. I think because I have abandonment issues, I was kind of like, okay, I'm abandoned. This is done, and my world kind of fell apart. Instead of me thinking, maybe we could work this out. Maybe I'll just go back to his house, which I'll get to that point later as to why I think that, as to why I question why I didn't go to his house or just go to his family or call his family. First of all, his mom hated me. I felt like his family hated me and I was not welcome there. And it had only been about 3 weeks that I'd been there, and I did not feel like they were happy that I was there. I think mainly because his parents didn't seem happy that I was there. His grandparents were very, very sweet, but they couldn't really do much to show me. I was so uncomfortable that really not much could help, because also my boyfriend was being mean to me. So it was a tough situation. It really was. I could tell his grandparents felt bad and wanted to make me feel comfortable, but it was really hard. It was really hard for me. So anyway, because I was like, okay, well, I guess this is over with and my life is over. I was in a state of shock and just absolute, complete, utter, couldn't stop crying. And my uncle was like, just meet me at this one place for lunch. He sends me an address and I go and I meet him for lunch. Thank God, because I was starving. And at this point, it was probably, I don't know what time it was. I feel like I'm going to say 11 a.m. The sun just came out, so welcome it. Welcome the sun. I wish it was like that this whole video, but it's definitely not going to be. So I met my uncle at this place. Guess what place he had me meet him at? It was a casino. I had never been to a casino, let alone had I ever been to a buffet in a casino. But here we were at a buffet in a casino, and I got a bunch of food, and I wasn't really eating it because I was just devastated. I remember all I could talk about was what happened with me and my boyfriend and how I didn't know what to do and how I felt, now I had nowhere to go. I really genuinely felt like I had nowhere to go because my boyfriend scared me so much. And I didn't want to go back. Like, I did not see me going back. I did not think he would take me back after I left him at the gas station. I did not think going back I did not think we would be okay ever after that, which is correct. I'm kind of glad my brain worked that way. We would have never worked things out, especially after that day. That was one of the worst days of my life. I would have never been able to get over that. And so I would have always had anxiety, and he would have hated me more and more and more over time, and our relationship would have never gotten better. So, it does make sense that I reacted the way that I did, and thank God that I didn't give him more years of my life and let him emotionally abuse me even more and tell me what to wear and be really paranoid about me. I'm kind of glad that it ended here, even though this was so traumatic for me. So I was at lunch with my uncle. He wouldn't really listen to me. He didn't really care what I had to say. He also told me that I couldn't stay with him that night because my uncle, is gay, and he had a guy coming over that night. And he prioritized that over helping me and letting me stay at his house. So that's how my family is. Anyway, so he told me that he, however, would pay for a hotel for me to stay at that night. So I was like, okay, cool. Thinking it wouldn't be a bad hotel. And then maybe I could get help from my family members back home or some friends back home. Then I could get help, like gas money or something, and then go back to my hometown and be home and safe again. Oh, look at my earring. Isn't it cute? So I end up in this hotel that my uncle gets for me. The sun's going down. I think because of the time of year that it was, the sun was going down at like really early, it felt like. Or maybe it was like 7. No, I think it was really early. I think it was like 6 p.m. when the sun was going down. So it felt really, really dark once it got dark. Like it was like pitch black outside when it got dark. In this middle of this kind of like busy city. So it was interesting how dark it got. And it felt like I was kind of in the ghetto where my uncle had got me this hotel. It felt kind of cheap, okay? So I get into the hotel. I feel a little unsafe. I feel a little like the energy's off. So I realize that there's no heat and it starts to get a little bit cold in the room. So that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can stay here, honestly. And mind you, the front desk person told me right after I checked in that they were closing at 6. So they were like completely closed. He was like, I can't help you at all after 6. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, dang, okay. I remember I had to beg him to use a phone charger because I did not have a phone charger and I was really freaked out about that because my phone was like was the only safety that I had at this point. So I remember, by the way, I still hadn't heard from my boyfriend at this point. So I got this charger from the front desk guy and I was able to use it in my room for like an hour before he closed. And as long as I promised to bring it back before 6. So I remember I brought it back to him before 6 and my phone was still barely charged, but I had to bring it back to him. So then I remember I went to my room. It started to get cold. I realized there wasn't any heat. And I was like, wow, I can't go to the front desk guy at all. This sucks. So this is like telling you guys to, anytime you check into a hotel, if the front desk ever closes or anything, you need to, the first thing you do when you check into your room is check the heat and check the supplies and make sure there's supplies, because I started my period at this time and I remember going to the bathroom and guess what? There was no toilet paper. Also, all of my stuff was at my boyfriend's and his family's house. So I didn't have any things. I didn't have any money. I don't remember what I did about this. I think I just kind of blacked it out because it was traumatizing, whatever I had to end up doing. So we'll just move on from that part of the story. So anyway, no wonder I ended up getting an infection. If you watched part 1, I got an infection because I wasn't able to like use period products correctly because of we were road tripping too much. So I we didn't stop enough to the point where I didn't change my pads enough. But also maybe this was a contributing factor too, that I wasn't able to like use period products at this time because I didn't have any and I didn't have money. And there wasn't even freaking toilet paper at this hotel room. So I remember I made a post on Facebook, and it's one of the most humiliating posts I've ever made in my life to this day. I was in a state of shock. I felt really unsafe in this place, and I had absolutely no things to wipe my butt with. Like, what the hell? That's like, what's it called? A necessity. I didn't have necessities that I needed. So I was really panicking at this time. I felt like the love of my life had abandoned me. So that's what I put in the post. I literally said that. I said, the love of my life has abandoned me. I need help desperately. Everybody that I was friends with on Facebook had known that I moved away with this guy, and where, basically, because it was so public. We made it public. We loved each other. We didn't care. But it didn't go that well, so nobody really expected this post. However, thank God I made this post because it's what ended up getting me the help I needed. I got a comment on that post from a girl that I was best friends with in high school that I hadn't talked to for a couple of years because I didn't know it, but she had moved away to the same state that I had just moved to with my boyfriend. So she was only about a town away, so I had to drive to her, and it was again, it was pitch black in this city for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's the state that I was in. It's just a specific state that's known for like being pitch black at night. So it was scary driving. I also was still like bawling. I remember I have not cried this hard in my entire life. I was just not okay at all. Not okay. And I had my dog, mind you. Oh, wait, no. I didn't have my dog, you guys. She's over there right now sleeping. I have her right now. But I didn't have my dog. I remember that's part of why I was panicking. My dog, because me and my boyfriend were fighting at the beginning of the day on our way to work, I did not have my dog. My dog was left at the home of his family's house. So technically I probably should have gone back there, but I don't even think I had the address. Like, I think my boyfriend was always the one who had the address on his phone. So I was never even like, it wasn't even a thought in my mind because I didn't even know how to get there. I didn't know where I was at all. This was a completely new city for me, completely new state. Everything was different. I was terrified of everything because I already have like generalized anxiety and PTSD. So it's just like life is like a completely different view for me than it is for most people. It's really interesting. I'm glad I can see it as interesting now because I used to be like a really depressed person about it. But now I'm like, I'm learning more about it. I'm learning coping mechanisms. I've been going to a lot of therapy. But I used to be like a really depressed person because all of this stuff happened to me at such a young age. So anyway, everything was already pretty terrifying for me. So when I was driving to this other town that my friend was in, she commented and said I could come stay with her and her mom. They happened to be staying in a hotel too, which was weird coincidence. But it's because her mom happened to come and be visiting her, and her mom was staying in a hotel. So my friend from high school, was staying in a hotel with her mother. And she was like, yeah, come to this town. It's just a few towns over from where you are. Come here and stay with us in this hotel. It's fine. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. So I drove, and I remember it being this foggiest night I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't really see because it was so dark, and I was crying. So it was a pretty scary drive. And I didn't have my dog, which is horrible. But you can tell how sad this is by showing that I don't have my dog in the background. That's how this story like feels. But she's right over there, don't worry. But anyway, to give you a vibe of what it was like. Also, I'm gonna be putting rain sounds in these videos. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Music, rain sounds. I think rain sounds is really relaxing, and also this is kind of like more of a dreary story, so maybe it like helps the vibes. I don't know. But it was really foggy too, so it was almost like it should have been raining at this point. And I was crying a lot, so I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. If you think I should just do these videos with no music, or if I should do them with music. It's also really hard to edit in music, but I will keep doing it if you want it. And or if you think rain sounds is good enough, because I think it's really relaxing to have rain sounds in the background of things, and it's much easier to edit that into a video. But I don't know, let me know. Okay, anyway, so I went over to this other town to stay with my friend and her mom in a hotel room, and I was so freaking thankful about that, dude. And I remember my friend was like, okay, you're not okay. You should come out with me. I'm gonna go out with my friends tonight and we're gonna drink. I'm not much of a drinker personally, but at this point in my life, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, this was one of my best friends from high school, and what do you think we did back in high school all the time? We drank, okay, get over it. That's what, like, a lot of high schoolers end up doing. We didn't drink very often. Like, I've never been a huge fan of alcohol, but it was definitely something that we liked to do on occasion, me and my friends in high school. So I remember going out with her friends to her friend's house. So these are a bunch of people I've never met because this is a whole new state that I've never been to, you know? But we had a lot of fun. I remember having fun. And it got into like 9 p.m., maybe 10. And I remember finally getting a text from my boyfriend. as I was having fun with these people, we were playing beer pong. I was like, yeah, this is like really fun. Like, I'm glad to not be feeling like I'm in complete shock anymore and to not be crying anymore, you know? And I was a little bit buzzed, so I felt a lot better. And then I got a text from him, and I remember him saying, like, why didn't you just come home? Why didn't you just go home? Or why didn't, and he also asked me why I didn't just go to work. Because we were initially on our way to work when we had this fight. And I honestly didn't really have an answer to that. Like I said before, like I do not know what I was thinking or why I just kind of like gave up on everything. I just kind of knew, I think my body instinctively knew that I couldn't stay there anymore. It wasn't safe. And emotionally, physically, it wasn't safe. If he was gonna like leave me like that randomly at a gas station, like I know that I technically drove away from him, but it's because he was forcing me to. He was screaming at me to leave him and to let him get out of the car. Like, I wasn't making him want to get out of the car. He wanted me to drop him off somewhere. And I was like, you want me to get off on the side of the highway? He was like, no. Pull off the highway, drop me off somewhere. So he wanted me to leave him, but it felt like he left me because it was a town that he had family in and he knew. I did not know. And I did not have family there. I know my uncle was there, but he was not helpful at all. Like, at all. He got me the cheapest, scariest hotel room, and then he didn't even contact me at all after that. When I was like, do you at least have some toilet paper? Like, he didn't live far away from the hotel, and he just wasn't answering me. I think he's on drugs, so it's not really surprising to anybody in my family. So it kind of was like everybody knew that he wouldn't help me if I went there, you know? So I finally got a text from him saying all that. I didn't really know what to say. I was like speechless. I was like, I don't know why I didn't do any of the things you're saying. Like, I think a normal person would have done not, I think maybe a different person would have done something different than I did. Maybe they would have continued on their way to work without their boyfriend. Maybe they would have stayed and let their boyfriend scream at them and still worked it out somehow. But I have too severe of anxiety to have done that. So I was just like bawling and I had to get away from him because he was scaring the shit out of me. Or maybe another person would have gone back to his house, would have figured out where the address was that I was staying at and would have gone back to my dog and would have just waited for him there and contacted him. I don't know. Maybe somebody else would have gone somewhere and waited a few hours and then contacted their boyfriend. But for me, it was like, no, it's over. I can't stay here. This is terrifying. He abandoned me. It's completely over now. Like, my world fell apart. I can't explain to you guys enough. The way my anxiety is like Chicken Little. I Chicken Little and think that my world is falling apart. And it's life ruining. It truly is. But for this situation, I think it worked out for the best because I definitely shouldn't have stayed in this situation. Things were getting worse and worse. We were fighting a lot. And every time we fought, my self-confidence would get way worse. And it got to the point where, I couldn't even handle him yelling at me at all without completely falling apart. I could barely drive. So anyway, I think that's my answer as to why I didn't go back to his house or why I didn't go to work and why I kind of knew. It's because I was falling apart. So I was kind of like, this is over. I need to go back home, So, but I didn't really tell him that. I don't remember what I texted him back. I think I still have that phone, but I've tried to turn it on and it won't turn on anymore. So it would be interesting though to be able to open that old phone and see what exactly was said that night, that specific night between each of us, because things got really bad once he ended up getting on Facebook and seeing the posts that I made, saying the love of my life abandoned me. He freaked out, said that I was defaming him, and a whole bunch of other like really horrible shit. He told me like I was the worst thing that ever happened to him, and like a lot of other things that I won't repeat, a lot of other things that I've blacked out because I don't want to remember what he said to me. And at that point, he said he was choosing for it to be over, And I kind of was like, I've already been choosing for it to be over, so I don't know what you're talking about. Like, this is why the whole day it's been this way, is because I was sure it was already over. I thought it was already over, you know? He was saying now, after I made that Facebook post asking for help, that was when it was over. Not before that, when he left me at a gas station and told me to drive away from him. Like, it's just, I don't know where the logic is there. I think he was trying to make it seem like it was my fault that this ended, when truly it was his. Um, he wanted to act like we could have just moved past that little argument. But it wasn't a little argument for me. It was one of the last straws for me, of him breaking my self-confidence, screaming at me when I was already having horrible anxiety to the point where I couldn't even breathe. I was already like in tears about his mom not liking me, and I couldn't understand why he would get angry about me trying to talk to him about that. Like, I'm getting flustered trying to even talk about it, because it doesn't make sense. He was abusive, okay? None of this is right. He shouldn't have been angry at me for having anxiety about his mom not liking me. That's very normal for a girl to feel when a mother doesn't like her, especially when she's very clearly showing that she doesn't like her. So anyway, I remember him saying it was over at that point, screaming at me over text as much as he could, you know, as much as you can over text, making me feel even worse. And I remember after that crying for 2 days straight. And I remember it was one of the first times in my life where I hyperventilated from crying. If you don't know what that's like, it's when your lips start to go numb, and that means that you're like losing oxygen. Like, you need to stop breathing like you are, because you're going to like, something is wrong. I don't know exactly what hyperventilation means, but when your lips start to go numb because you're like crying like that, it's not good. It means you're hyperventilating. That's what happened to me like a couple of times throughout the next few days. And I remember I had to go get all of my belongings from his house. And the only way to do that was my best friend Sandra, my best friend from high school, Sandra, her mom felt so bad. She was such a kind woman. I thank her so much. I thank Sandra and her mom so much for helping me. Her mom felt so bad that she contacted the parents of my ex, and they linked up to make sure that I would get all of my stuff back. Mind you, I didn't. When I did go to get my stuff with Sandra and her mom, my ex had gone through all of my stuff and taken whatever he wanted. So I lost my makeup bag. I think he thought that was like a way to like screw me over in a way, taking my makeup bag. And then he took this giant amethyst that I had. It was like this and then this. It was huge. Like, it was shaped like a 90-degree angle and then a bulb like that. And it was just amethyst rock that I found at a thrift store, and I had it for years. And yeah, he took that. I think he gave it to his mom because he said that his mom loved that when we first moved in with them. So, and then he took this workout thing that I had. It was like, I don't know how to explain whatever that thing was. It was like a weighted belt with shoulder straps. Does that make sense? It had weights in it. So when you would work out with it, you'd have weight. It was like really cool. I loved that thing. He took that, and then he took a couple of other things that I will never remember, but I'll never get back. So yeah, Sandra and her mom were able to take me to get all my stuff back. I remember staying in the car the entire time, and I remember my ex never came outside either. All of these people had to do all of the work for us because I could not move, and my ex was too much of a pansy to even come outside. And he had taken my stuff he'd taken whatever he wanted out of my stuff. They put all of my stuff into Sandra's mom's car, and the whole time, this is when I was hyperventilating from crying so hard. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever seen, I've ever had. Um, I said seen because right now I'm like literally seeing the situation panning out. I have like photographic memory, so I'm seeing what I saw then. I was looking at their house and their garage, their double wide trailer, as they were like bringing all my stuff outside and then slowly putting it into the car for us. And it was just a very, very eerie situation for everyone involved. It was really awkward. You could tell that they were really devastated that this relationship with their son wasn't working out. The parents were less emotional. They didn't seem like they really cared, but the grandparents were very, like, you could tell that they felt so bad for me. It was really sad. Anyway, so after that, I remember I got one of my best friends from childhood to send me money because I had no money. She sent me money so that I could drive home, and I drove the 14 hours back home with my dog. I've, of course, got my dog back when we were getting all of my stuff back. This is another part of the story that's really devastating. Trigger warning for animal neglect. They did not feed my dog for the whole 2 days that I left her at their house. I don't know if it's because my dog didn't eat because I was gone. I don't know if it's because I was at Sandra's. I was with Sandra and her mother at their hotel room for like 2 days, and my dog was still at their place while I figured out how the hell I was going to get my stuff back from my ex. He was being really weird about me getting my stuff back for a few days, and my dog was stuck there. And I didn't even know, again, like where I was or how to get there. So I couldn't just go get my dog whenever I wanted to. I also didn't have money or gas, so I couldn't go anywhere that I wanted to. So until I got money sent to me. So anyway, and that's why Sandra and her mom took me to go there. But that was only after I was able to convince him to let me get my stuff back a few days later. So my dog had been stuck with them for 2 days, and I think it's either because she wouldn't eat because I wasn't there because she loves me so much, or two, it's because he was abusing her. He was being mean to her. He was neglecting her, or he was being really mean to her because he didn't like me anymore, so he wouldn't like my dog anymore. I think that's the type of person that he was. He genuinely seemed like that type. Or, I feel like the grandparents might have been trying to feed her and she just wasn't eating, because that's the same as how I am when I'm really, really nervous and how my anxiety is. I won't eat. That's the kind of situation I was in there. I wasn't eating, and I think they thought I hated them, the grandparents, because I wasn't eating their food. But also, my dog was probably doing that too. She probably wasn't eating even if they tried to feed her because I wasn't there. She has always been kind of anxiety ridden like that, and she won't eat unless I'm there. She also, I'm not sure if it's because of my ex, but she also, I think it's definitely because of my ex, because when he threw stuff, it really, really scared the crap out of her. So now when men are around, she won't eat. And she, even though she knows my best friend Zach, she doesn't trust him. She won't eat around him. He's been around for more than 2 years now. He's like my best friend. She loves him, but she still doesn't trust him. If he's doing anything loud, or if he has any loud object and is like making noise with it, she freaks out. She can't stand it. So she's always had issues with men. I'm not sure if it's because he was mean to her, but I am sure it's because he was mean to me. Does that make sense? My dog has like PTSD like I do from the situations that I was in with men. So she hadn't eaten for those couple of days. She was so hungry. She was like gagging. She did it a couple of times in my lap after I went and picked her up, and I was like shocked at how like emaciated she looked. And I remember feeding her right away, being like so emotional over just that. That was like the toughest part probably of it all. Knowing that like I hadn't necessarily forgotten about her, but that I had to kind of leave her there for a couple of days I didn't really have a choice. That was the hardest thing for me. I did not expect, though, them not to take care of her. That, or I didn't expect her not to eat. I think more likely she probably wasn't eating because that's how bad her anxiety was, especially at that time. And probably because of how bad my anxiety was, affected her anxiety as well. It's really weird how that happens, but if my anxiety's bad, my dog's anxiety is going to be bad too. So that's just a fact. Literally a fact. Especially with a little chihuahua. So back at this time, I bet that her anxiety was much worse. You can see in her face, when she was younger, she had much worse anxiety. I'll show you this picture. So you guys just saw my dog right now. Like she's about 10 years old, but she doesn't look that stressed out. This is how stressed out she used to look. She always had that furrow in her brow, and her eyes always looked like she might burst out into tears constantly. And she's happy there. She's with my grandpa. She loved my grandpa, but she looks like she's about to die. when she was a puppy and a younger dog, that's just what she looked like. She was always stressed out. Always stressed out. So anyway, none of these situations helped my dog's anxiety, especially me moving away with this guy. Especially our fighting all the time. She was not okay. So I bet she just wasn't eating. I bet that they did try to feed her. I doubt that my ex-boyfriend tried to feed her, honestly. I think he was probably so upset with me that he was like, screw that dog. But I at least have to hope that somebody in that house was trying to feed her and was trying to take care of her. Maybe the 16-year-old son was, because he absolutely loved her and he liked me. So maybe, hopefully, he was taking care of her. So anyway, she was okay after that, after I fed her. There's not much to this story left, so I'll just tell you a little bit of like how the road trip went of me going back home. So I didn't stop crying still. Like I was crying for like a week straight because I just couldn't believe that my relationship had fallen apart so quickly, and that, you know, his anger just kept getting worse and worse. Like it kind of put me into a state of shock that instead of being like a good boyfriend, he just kept getting worse and worse. And there was no thought of being there for me like I was there for him. It was just kind of like anger at anything that I had to say. And it was honestly one of the worst relationships I've ever had. And looking back on it, I was really in shock. I couldn't stop crying. I could not stop crying. So I remember stopping at a gas station and getting gas. I remember, before that though, I was really tired, right? And so I was like, okay, I kept looking at the exit signs on the highway as I was going home. And I was looking at like, I'm trying to think of fake city names that I could say, but I'm not going to. I'll use my dog's names. Dogs that I've had in history. So imagine I saw Doratown was, let's say, 50 miles away. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to stop in Doratown and get gas because I could see that I was getting close to running out of gas. And I was also very tired, so I needed a break. And it was the middle of the night, and I was driving through the middle of the night. So I remember seeing it was like 50 miles away, Doratown. And I looked, and then I blacked out. I have never done this before. Never in my life, like actually blacked out in the moment. I've blacked out memories, but I've never blacked out in the moment. Like even when I drink alcohol, I never have drank enough to black out. And mind you, I was driving. I was not drinking at this time. It was just because I was in such a state of shock and I was crying so much and I probably was sleep deprived too. I don't think I was sleeping at all or eating. I remember looking up, and it felt like it was a minute later, and seeing that I was in Doratown. So 50 miles had passed, which normally would be about an hour time, and I had blacked that out completely. I felt like I had maybe even fallen asleep while driving. Like that's how tired I was. So I was like, oh my God, I really need to stop if I've blacked out driving like that. So I pulled over I went to a gas station and I was getting gas. Whew. This is another first in my life. I drove away from the gas pump with the gas pump still in my car. Okay? Mind you, another little tidbit to this story is my ex-boyfriend, the boyfriend who just left me in this other state, he had spray painted my car bright purple. So I had this car that was the color of my walls. Lavender purple. Favorite color, as you can tell. He really wanted to practice painting cars, and he let me choose the color because it was my freaking car. So I was like, do purple. Do lavender purple. And he spray painted my car with lavender purple from Walmart. It was Walmart spray paint. So it wasn't the best job, I won't lie to you. So I'm driving home in this purple car that my ex painted. Like, it was such a heartbreak for me. All of these things I had reminded me of him. All of the last almost year of my life were with him. Anyway, so I drove away from the gas pump with the pump still in my car. That's how much shock I was in. I am not kidding you. It scared the crap out of me. So guess what happens when you do that? When you drive away from the gas pump and it's still connected and it's still in your car pulls it out and it yanks out of the top of the gas pump. Like, imagine this is the top of the gas pump. It yanks out. It disconnects from the whole gas pump situation so that you can't cause a disaster, basically. There's a little disconnect pump that, like, if it's pulled on too hard, it just disconnects. It's like one of those cat collars that disconnects if it's pulled on. So, just so you know, if you're ever too out of it and you drive away with the gas pump still in your car, nothing will happen. It just disconnects. And you go inside and you tell the operator and they fix it for you. For me, though, I went inside bawling and I was like, I'm so sorry. I broke the gas pump. I don't know what to do. I can't believe I did this. I'm having the worst freaking week of my life. My boyfriend left me. Ooh. And this man felt so bad for me. And I was like, I haven't slept. I don't know where to sleep. I don't know what to do. And he was like, you can sleep outside my gas station. It's okay. I'll watch and make sure you're safe. Just make sure to lock your car. And he told me where I could park and I could sleep. That freaked my dog out. So he told me where I could sleep in his gas station parking lot. And so that's what I did. I was very thankful for this. So I went and I slept. And I remember I wore these sunglasses over my eyes so that, like, I was a little bit terrified to be sleeping in my car at this gas station. I won't lie. I was like thinking that somebody would come up and like bang my window in and like assault me or like try to kidnap me or something like that. I was really freaked out about this. So I decided I would wear my sunglasses to sleep so that at least nobody could tell my eyes were closed and I was sleeping. Maybe they would just think I was sitting there, you know? So I had these big black sunglasses that are like really chunky and I was wearing them and I was sleeping. And I went to sleep probably at like 1 a.m. and I woke up hours later when the sun was up. And I remember feeling like my eyes had been punched. Both of my eyes were bruised because what did I do? I slept up against the car, like the side of my car on the inside of it, like this. Imagine she's the car. And pushing my glasses up against my face, like really hard, the sunglasses. So my sunglasses were pressed into my face so badly, like I'm feeling it right now, so badly that I ended up with 2 black eyes. So when I went home, you guys, what do you think everybody thought? They thought my ex punched me in the face, and that's what happened. And they literally, even my best friend who sent me money so that I could come home, she thought I was lying to her about that. She literally thought I was lying and that I was punched in the face and would not tell her the truth. But I was like, I swear to you, I slept with sunglasses on. Like, if I can't get you to believe me, I'm not gonna like repeat this story. You know what I'm saying? Like it was definitely hard to get anyone to believe me, and I understand if nobody believes me in that story, but it is kind of a funny fact. Like, I bruise really easily. So if I were to fall, I don't sleep with my glasses on ever, but if you do sleep with glasses on against something, it puts so much weight on them and pushes, like, these sunglasses are big and chunky and they're meant to go over glasses. So they have like a ridge in them that goes towards your face. So that just like made it worse, and it just pushed against my eyes all night, and I slept hard for more than 6 hours probably that night in my car, up against the car. So it really bruised my eyes. And I remember thinking, like, what the heck happened to my eyes? Like, I remember not piecing it together for a couple of days as I was driving home still. I remember thinking, like, how the heck are my eyes hurting so bad? And then I was finally like, the glasses! I slept in the glasses. That has to be it. Because I remember every time I would put the glasses back on when I was driving, it would hurt even more. Because there was just a little bit of weight being put in the same spot that I had slept with them on. It took me a while to figure that out. But again, nobody believed me when I got home. So, after this, I got home. I made it home. And I was finally safe. Clap, 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 clap. So was this girl. She was also home and finally safe. And I just moved back in with my mom, where I had started out to begin with. Me and my ex lived with my mom and then moved out to another state, and then I just came back by myself. If I ever remember more to this story, maybe I'll make another story time, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I never once heard from that guy since that time. I talked to his brother a little bit, and he finished the tattoos that he started on me. One thing about my ex was he was a tattoo artist, and he did a lot of the work on me. So that's also why I'm slightly traumatized, because I have a lot of tattoo work done by the person who I was in love with and who left me in another state. So yeah, it was very interesting. I'm glad I can see it as very interesting and not like super traumatizing like I used to. Oh, I got more lipstick on her. Sorry, honey. So yeah, I don't really remember anything else because it's kind of like so heartbreaking. But I'm glad I survived. A lot of people are like freaked out that I even survived. Let's just say after this, my ex turned out to be someone who went to jail for something like really, 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 really bad. So he turned out to be a really violent person. And it's good that I got away from him, I guess. So yeah. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. Leave a honey boo-boo. Leave a honey emoji in the comments because my dog's name is Honey. Yeah, this is Honey Boo Boo. Yeah, this is Honey Boo Boo. She's beautiful. Yeah, leave a honey emoji in the comments. She would definitely love it. She loves everyone. I wish everyone got to meet her because she's freaking hilarious and she loves meeting new people. Like, she really loves people. She's a people dog. Yeah, she's a people dog. Okay, yeah, leave a honey emoji if you made it this far in the video. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching both parts of this if you did. You're freaking amazing. You must love me or something. Oh my god, thank you. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you made it this far, you must have liked the video, right? I hope so. Oh my god, that's freaking awesome, you guys. Okay, whatever you're doing, have a good day, good night, good evening. Bye, guys. I am affiliated with this mushroom company. They sell mushroom honey and mushroom chocolates, and it's legal to buy it online as long as it's legal in your state. I'm in Colorado, so it's legal for me to buy this mushroom honey. And like, I don't know, if you would like to trip, you can trip. But for me, I just like to take a little bit and microdose it. That's also what they recommend it for anyway. It's like medicinal, you know, properties. It's better to microdose. It's really nice to microdose. But anyway, yeah, I'll go grab it and I'll show you. This is my mushroom honey. Oh, her name is Honey. That's probably why she's getting excited. Yes. The company is called Soul Cybin. And yeah, it says medicinal honey, reduce stress, balance mood, calm the mind. And I am now affiliated with them. Ooh, see, no wonder I took those off. Yikes. So you can, maybe I should have put them on though for this little ad read so that I look different. Boop. Psilocybin. It's actually really good. You can't tell, like it's not like it's disgusting or anything. It's just, like they grind up the mushrooms into a powder and then they mix it in to the honey. And then you just take a little tiny bit on a spoon and it's really nice. I like to say microdosing is like taking a happy pill. It's super nice. I love it. It's also recommended to take it with an empty stomach, which is interesting. I didn't really know that, but until I like read it one day and I was like, oh, okay, good to note. It's a very good company. It's something that I've wanted to tell you guys about for a long time, and it's something that has helped me, honestly. My last jar lasted me almost a year. I just bought this new jar and it will probably last me another year because I microdose it. So I don't take very much at once at all because you don't need to. But yeah, and you want to keep it in your fridge. And honey also stays good forever. So you don't need to worry about it going bad. It's awesome. Okay. That's the end of the ad read day. I'm not used to doing these. This is weird. Channel is sponsored by a website called Wildflower. For the rest of this ad read, I'm going to say sax, like saxophone, instead of the word that I need to say. So let's talk more about Wildflower Saxophone. They are a wellness company. First, I'll tell you about what I've purchased from there so far. Now, I will say, I bought this without having any experience with said item. I'll show you this side. The other thing that I purchased on their website are some period cups. They're silicone and it's really great for if you want to reduce your carbon footprint in the environment. They are used for replacements in feminine products. These period cups I got from Wildflower are really, really high quality. They're the perfect size for me. They have all different shapes and sizes on their website of period cups and toys. So let's get more into the website itself. Right off the bat, the website is extremely inclusive. I absolutely love it. That's the first thing that really drew me in to this website was not only do they talk about saxophone wellness, but they talk about inclusivity and how you can learn how to be more inclusive and things like that. Here's one example of something called the NB. If you scroll down, it will tell you what it is good for, what it's best used for, and if you scroll even more, you get some pretty detailed, pretty honest, and great reviews, which, I don't know, for me it's nice to see honest reviews on a website, but not only that, it's pretty dang entertaining to, if you never have, go through the reviews of saxophone toys. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Anyway, my favorite part about this website isn't even the toys and the inclusivity, it is the articles that they give you about saxophone education. It's so hard to keep remembering to say saxophone. You go to this tab and there's tons of articles about gender, how-to guides, relationships, sax and body positivity, toys and tools, and my favorite I found, mental health. Super helpful. It's so wonderful to see an adult website that promotes saxophone wellness and education rather than just trying to throw stuff at you to buy constantly. Consider shopping around the site. Again, my affiliate link is in the description below. And if you can't spend money right now, I fully understand. Check out the site anyway and read the articles that they have to offer because it's never too late to learn new things. Purchase anything through my link, then I will get part of that commission, so you would be supporting me.